In this lesson, we're going to study matter, its different states, and how the particles are acting inside each type of matter. A simple definition for any matter is that anything that has mass and can fill a space. This mass can be composed of tiny particles. These particles are arranged accordingly. They can be atoms or molecules that are composed of the neutrons, the electrons, and the protons. In this lesson, we're going to focus on the particles and their arrangement and behavior inside each type of matter. The first one we're going to mention is the solid one. The solid particles are compact. They're strong, and they're strong enough to protect their volume and shape. For example, let's assume that this triangle is a solid object. Then the particles inside are all holding on to one another. They're all protecting the shape and volume of this triangle, and none of the particles can escape out of it. If you try to transfer this triangle into any type of container, then we'll get the same triangle shape. No change will be observed, and this is due to the strong force that holds the solid particles together. The next one we have is the liquids. In liquids, the particles are still strong enough to protect their volume, but not their shape. The particles have some spaces between them. See that they are not as strong as the solid particles, and they are not compact. And they even also have some movement between them, and they have an optimum amount of kinetic energy. Unlike the solid particles, they have the least amount. And there is this space between the particles that allow them to slip into one another, to be able to change their shape when required. If you transfer these particles into any type of container, they will just organize themselves according to the container. The third one we have is gas. In gas, the particles are random. They don't have a definite shape and not a definite volume either. The particles go in every direction. They don't care about each other. So each one acts on its own. They are not trying to build a shape or to maintain their volume. And if you transfer gas particles into any type of container, then inside they're always moving around and hitting the walls of the container, and they also hit each other. So gas particles are in an excited state, but they can even get more excited. See, the number of electrons and protons inside gas are equal. So the atoms and the molecules have an equal amount of these charges. That differentiates it from our next type of matter, in which it's called plasma. In plasma state, the atoms are in the highest form of reactivity, and they can release electrons. They can release free electrons that can release large amounts of energy. So if electrons could escape from an atom, then it will be called ions, right? So plasma is basically called an ionized gas or a charged gas. The number of electrons and the protons are not equal here.